Hey guys, today's video is going to be a bit more reflective. I've been spending some time looking back at the past year, analyzing how things went with my business, playing out my next steps, and essentially setting goals for 2025. So I decided it would be a good idea to just sit down and share with you my honest thoughts on an AI and automation agency as a business model, especially after running one for the past year. So, complete transparency, I'll be talking about the pros and cons, the numbers we've managed to achieve, and what my next steps are. Hopefully, this will give you some kind of an insight and help in deciding where to focus when growing your own business. First off, just to give you some context, we launched the Bosar agency at the end of April 2024. Now, it wasn't our first time building custom software for clients. We had some experience in that, but it was our first time focusing exclusively on AI solutions. So we set up the agency in late April, and honestly, it took much longer than I expected to land our first client. Even though I already had a flow of leads coming in from my YouTube channel, people who were presumably warm leads, right? They knew what kind of solutions we could build, they knew what we were capable of. Still, it wasn't easy to get things moving. In those early days, we had about 15 discovery calls and we couldn't close a single sale. It was quite frustrating, but it is a reality check that I want to share with you. Even though you can have everything set up the right way, it's always hard to move the train from the dead stop. So that was May 2024, a month full of discovery calls and zero sales at the time. Then June came, the second month of the agency. We also had a lot of calls, but finally at the end of June, over 2 months after launching the agency, we closed our first paying client for $1,700. It was a basic AI chatbot deployed as an iframe with custom UI for the client's website. And here's where the AI and automation agency business model starts to shine. Once you land your first clients, it doesn't take a ton of projects to hit decent revenue. For example, even if you're just starting out, 3 or 4 projects can bring you to 10K in revenue fairly quickly. So by the end of June, we had our first client. In July, we added 2 more, and in August, we hit the 10K monthly revenue mark. Since then, we've been consistently generating at least $10,000 a month. This month, for example, we did over 20K already. So here's how the timeline broke down for us. First 2 months, a lot of work, a lot of discovery calls, but no results, no sales. Month 3, we landed our first few paying customers. And month 4, we hit the $10,000 revenue mark. So that's the opportunity with this business model, growing a business from 0 to 10K MRR monthly recurring revenue in under 6 months. And if you're not there yet, 2025 can be the year you make it happen and turn things around completely. This is exactly what I did. I quit my day job in affiliate marketing just last year, and it changed everything. Now, to be fair, I already had a technical partner with a lot of experience in software development. I also had years of experience in B2B sales, affiliate marketing, and startups, and my YouTube channel had started gaining traction. In fact, we already had leads coming in before we even officially launched the agency. If you are starting from scratch, it might take you a little longer to work through the learning curve and gain some experience, but the good news is it is easier than ever to get started now. There are so many free resources available online, tons of tutorials, and as some of you know, we've launched an educational program designed to give you everything you need to get started, both the technical skills and the business know-how. We call it the AI Fellowship. I won't go into too much detail about it in this video, but if you are seriously considering getting into the AI space, check out my other videos where I break down everything you need to know to get started. It will pop up somewhere here. Alright, so August was our first month when we hit 10K in revenue, and we've been consistently making over 10K per month for the past 5 months. What's even more interesting is that we couldn't be completely focused on the agency, because with all the other businesses and projects going on, I'd say we've only put like half of the focus, 50% of our attention into it. And even with half the focus, we've managed to maintain decent revenue for 5 months straight. Now, after all this experience, after thousands of completed projects, if I had to name the pros and cons of running an AI and automation agency, the pros would be, well, first, the timing. The timing is amazing. AI is booming right now. Businesses across all industries are either implementing AI or planning to implement it in the near future. This means there is huge and growing demand for this kind of service. With this 500 billion Stargate project, it is obvious that AI is not going anywhere. It is going to only accelerate. So the timing is indeed perfect. Number two, the work is straightforward. For us, most of the projects have been about implementation. There is a technical assignment and you complete it. Because we generate leads from YouTube, people first watch my tutorials and then come to us. There's been very little consulting, auditing, or helping businesses understand how to fit AI into their business processes. The clients that come to us are already educated. They've done their research, identified where AI can help, and they know what they want. That's the beauty of inbound warm leads. Our job is to evaluate whether their idea is technically feasible and then build and implement the solution. And number three, the business model is simple. It is essentially an outsourced service-based business. Usually small to medium-sized businesses that don't have in-house technical capabilities come to us. They have a specific technical task, we have developers and technical capacity to build it, and we charge a fixed one-time fee for the project. Sometimes there is an ongoing retainer, but still mostly it's project-based work. And now the cons, the disadvantages of running an AI and automation agency. The first one is that you are limited by your bandwidth. This is still a service-based business, so your revenue depends on how many projects you can take on and complete. Scaling here requires hiring more developers or increasing your prices, so anyway, you still exchange time for money, developing hours for money. And to me, that's a huge limitation for this business model. Second, it's going to get more and more competitive. You won't just be competing with other agencies anymore, but also with hundreds of startups building products designed for specific industries. These startups are creating off-the-shelf, pre-configured solutions that are becoming increasingly customizable and advanced. So the competitive advantage that agencies like ours have, being able to build custom integrations and features, will eventually disappear, because all those features, all those integrations will be available with a simple toggle on or off. And just a quick reminder, on this channel I share my own opinion and that's it, okay? So in my opinion, the only way to survive and grow is to niche down. Become a problem solver for a specific industry, for a specific vertical, with an in-depth understanding of all the business processes for that specific niche. And that way you'll become bulletproof against all the new announcements from OpenAI and others, because they will never focus all their efforts on creating a product that's perfectly fine-tuned for, let's say, lawyers, right? But you can. Now, at this stage, for my agency, the big question is, how do we scale? There are two main paths that we can take. The first one is to stay as a service-based business, and the second option is to transition to a product-based business. What I believe and what I'm personally doing is using a service-based model as a stepping stone to eventually move into the product-based space. Now, let me explain. So option number one is scaling as a service-based business. And if you decide to stick with service-based model and actually scale, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it, but there are a few steps that you need to follow. The first one is to build your expertise, and the best way to do this is through an AI agency. Don't rush, don't try to skip steps. Start with an AI agency model just like we did. Gain hands-on experience, develop your expertise, and build a portfolio. This is crucial. Without a track record and proven results, it will be really hard to scale or land bigger clients. The second step is to target larger businesses. Once you've built your expertise and confidence, you can start targeting more established companies like enterprise level, where the stakes are higher. Larger businesses have significant operational bottlenecks, and if you manage to use AI to solve those, you're not just offering a $2,000 chatbot, instead, you are saving them millions annually, which justifies much bigger payments for you. Step number 3, consider combining AI consulting plus AI implementation. In other words, become an AI partner for bigger companies. Start with an audit of a company's processes and identify where AI can optimize operations. Then, if you have the capacity, take on the implementation yourself. If you don't, you can partner up with a technical team and they will handle that part. Or if you manage to sign a larger business, a larger company, usually they have in-house technical teams, so you can just guide and consult them and they will do the implementation itself. And the last step, or the last tip here for this approach, is to use value-based pricing. Instead of pricing based on the hours it takes to build something, switch to value-based pricing. For example, if your AI solution saves a business $1 million annually, you can charge 20% of that value, which is $200,000. This approach allows you to land bigger contracts and scale more effectively. Alright, the second option for us is to move into a product-based business. This is when you build something packaged like a SaaS solution, and the key to success with this approach is to go really deep into a specific industry or niche and solve a very targeted problem. Why? Well, as I mentioned before, because even though companies like OpenAI and Anthropic dominate the AI space and release updates that can wipe out a lot of startups, they are not going to dive deep into solving the specific problems of every single industry. That's where our products can stand out. So this is the approach that I've decided to take. In 2025, I'm shifting my focus to building a product-based business, and the main appeal for me is scalability. A software as a product has almost zero marginal cost of replication. You can sell it to thousands of businesses without spending more time and resources to deliver it. Compare that to a service-based business where you're still trading hours for results. Even if you optimize and streamline all your processes, still you're trading hours for results. Now, I'm not saying that service-based businesses are bad, of course not. Look at McKinsey, for example. They are a service-based business and one of the most successful consulting firms in the world. They make hundreds of millions of dollars, so they work. But for me, I want to build a product, something scalable. You know, ChatGPT is a product, and for OpenAI, it doesn't matter whether 10,000 people use it or 100 million people use it. They don't have to dedicate extra human hours to onboard each new user. They might have to scale their infrastructure, but anyway, the business model itself is incredibly scalable. Here's the key though. You can't take shortcuts. One of the biggest mistakes I made with my previous startups was trying to cut corners. It doesn't work unless you are insanely lucky, but usually it doesn't. So anyway, I don't have 15 years of domain expertise in any specific niche or industry, so I can't be sure which product to build or which industry to target. I need to validate my hypothesis before committing to building a product. And what is the best way to validate my ideas, to validate my hypothesis? The best way to do that is get paid for solving real problems. And that's where my plan comes in. The first step is exactly the same. Start with this service-based business, build expertise through an AI agency. So by continuing as an AI agency, we'll niche down and build hypotheses about which industries and problems we can solve with a specific AI product. Step number 2 is to validate your hypothesis through real projects. So instead of guessing, we'll work with businesses in this niche to create custom solutions. So we will use our agency as a tool, okay? We'll get paid for those projects and use that as validation. If businesses are willing to pay for the solution multiple times, that's a strong signal that we are onto something. And then step number 3 would be to transition to a product-based model. Once we've built custom solutions a few times and validated the demand, we'll turn those solutions into a product. From there, it's all about scaling and growing the product-based business. That's the roadmap I'm following. I want to emphasize that a product-based business is not inherently better than a service-based one. It's just different, and I tried to explain my point of view, and that's the path I've chosen for myself. But I couldn't jump into it right away. I had to start with an AI and automation agency model to gain some experience, to build a track record, and just figure out where the opportunities are. Now, in 2025, for us, it's time to niche down, validate the ideas, and eventually transition into SaaS. Alright, I hope this gave you some ideas and inspiration for your own next steps. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye.